To be able to get 144 Hertz on a portable monitor that is half a centimeter thick, that you can plug in and run on a mobile battery, I really was not ready to be this impressed by this monitor. Hello and welcome to another NihongoGamer video. I have one of these. This is a Hori branded monitor. It plays games at 60 frames per second. It's portable. This only runs at 736, it's like not exactly 720p, but it doesn't run at full 1080p. $200 for a product which is quite old now. It's quite thick and plasticky, and it just reminds me of, you know, an older design style. Times are a-changing, and this company, I hadn't heard of them before, but Arzopa, they're just like, would you like to check out a 144 Hertz gaming monitor? And I'm like, yeah, apparently you can set up fighting games to run at 144 Hertz and just get those inputs a little bit earlier. Anyway, enough talking about the product, let's just jump into the box and just get it straight out of here. Quite a funky logo, quite like this logo. Don't know what Arzopa means. Let's see just how thin this product actually is, because I haven't actually seen any previews of it. I just agreed to do the video. Arzopa G1 Game. This is it. Oh my god. It's actually super thin. I actually really wanted a company to send me a monitor like this, but I couldn't be bothered to wait. So I actually just went out and bought one myself. And I spent maybe $150, $160 on a full HD, not 144 Hertz, this was a standard 60 Hertz monitor. And it is nowhere near as nice as, this is mega thin, but this is not actually the product. You can actually make it thinner by removing the case. It gets even thinner. At the thinnest point on this monitor, it is literally half a centimeter thick. I haven't even turned it on, and all I can do is marvel at just how slim this monitor is. Time to remove that plastic. That was not nearly as nice sounding as I thought it was going to be. It's not actually stuck to the screen, it was only stuck to the top bezel. Kind of strange that this monitor actually looks best from the side. You've got HDMI and two USB-C ports. I believe one of them is for power only. And if we flip it to the other side, you've got the convenient headphone jack. You've also got a volume switch, but I believe those buttons can probably also be used for other functions once you've got the on-screen display. See what else is in the package. Some plastic. First, the USB-C cable. It's a very short but usable, presumably, USB-C to C cable, a HDMI mini cable. You can see it's full-size HDMI on one side and HDMI mini on the other side. And the accessories, almost dropped something on the screen, that would have been terrible. It's got some rubber feet, presumably to prevent the monitor from slipping away from you, because as a result of making it unbelievably thin, there is no longer anywhere to put a VESA mount. If you put a screw in this, it would actually go straight through the screen and it would come out the other side. So presumably if you want to mount this on an arm or something, you're going to have to get a clamp. You've got the AC adapter here, and on the back of it, it is USB-A, and to plug it into the monitor, you've got a USB-A to USB-C cable. And last but not least, quite handy to have a cleaning cloth. So I couldn't figure out how I was supposed to engineer this case to actually make it fold back on itself, because basically I unfolded it and put it like this, and I was like, that's weird, that doesn't seem like the right way for a monitor to stand up. It's actually going to be like this. It magnetizes to itself once it comes around. In fact, even if you do, actually, you can push on it and it doesn't really kill the magnet and push it over. In fact, it can walk. I am really excited about this just because it is unbelievably thin. But what I really want to do now is actually plug in my favorite games consoles into it. So let's plug a Nintendo Switch into it. And then finally, we should try out some 144 Hertz gaming by plugging a PC into it. Alright, as you can see, I've got the Arzopa G1 Game here on my desk and also my Nintendo Switch. One of the first things I want to test is the USB-C video output. Apparently you can have a cable going directly out of the Switch, not going into a dock, and then going into the device. Let's see if that actually works. So here's the included USB-C to USB-C cable that's included in the box. Plug one end of this cable into the Nintendo Switch like so, and then I'll plug the other end of this cable into the Arzopa. Gonna plug it here on the left side. Now this is the AC adapter with a USB-A on one end, but it's USB-C on the other end. This cable, this USB-C to USB-A cable, is not very long. Okay, the screen has gone off on the Switch. Hopefully that doesn't mean it's been bricked. Dock-free gaming. Presumably I need to remove my Joy-Cons. Alright, so I've just moved a few things around and I've changed the camera actually, because the camera I was just using to record this just was not doing the screen justice. If you actually go up to the screen itself and have a good look, it is really nice and crisp. It's super bright, but this is so cool because I can run the Nintendo Switch into this using nothing but this cable. And all you would really need is a mobile battery. If you do have a mobile battery, you have to make sure it's one of those mobile batteries that can supply, I believe it wants 3 amps. For now, it feels completely lag-free, and that's going through USB-C. Obviously, if you're going to play in a tournament, you need to have a quick look at the specifics of whether USB-C video output has any kind of extra delay added to it. Now, something that might not actually be coming through in a video is just how big this screen is. It's 15.6 inches. It just feels larger than it actually is because you can have it right up against your face, right up close to you, just like you would with any tablet. I'm really impressed by how crisp it looks. Now, I think on the current settings, it's set to sharpness level 2. Just for kicks, I might actually see what it looks like with the sharpness tuned down to level 0. And as suspected, it looks pretty much the same to me. Super nice, super crisp. The reason I'm so bowled over by the performance of this monitor is because for the longest time, I've been using this hoary portable gaming monitor that's not actually full HD. But anyway, it doesn't hold a candle to the Arzopa G1. Man, it is like having a deluxe mega big Switch. I think if the monitor were thicker, had VESA mounting, and you had to plug it into the wall for power. Actually, that's not true. It is plugged into the wall for power, but you can run this on battery power if you've got a mobile battery. It's just so much more tempting to actually get this thing out. And as a result, instead of like bringing your Nintendo Switch, setting it on the barbecue table, your picnic table, and like going, yeah, let's play some Nintendo Switch on this teeny tiny little screen, so much more tempted to whip out the monitor as long as it's super portable and thin like this one. I really was not ready to be this impressed by this monitor. Alright! Super Mario Kart. That's not what it's called. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Man, this game's so much fun. I've just unplugged the Nintendo Switch from the G1, and one thing I want to point out is that the Nintendo Switch does get quite warm. I had forgotten, because it was lying flat here on the table, all the heat was building up on the back of the Nintendo Switch. So I suggest, I mean, I guess you can't use the kickstand because the cable's coming out the base of it, but maybe if you just like lean it somewhere so that the heat can dissipate off the back of this device. Alright, so I've got some PlayStation 4 plugged into the Arzopa G1. I've just noticed that this logo here is absolutely massive, and I really feel like there's no need for the logo to be that big, but that is completely forgivable because the product itself does exactly what it says on the box, allows you to play your video games on a super slim monitor, and I'm not noticing any lag. This is a PlayStation 4 Slim running Street Fighter V here, just playing on the snack box. Almost imperceptible to people who haven't been playing fighting games for a long time, but there's a small amount of input latency between when you press a button and the button actually rendering graphics on the screen. And of course, the fastest possible monitor you can buy will help to reduce that lag so that when you're playing online matches, you'll have fewer excuses as to why you lost the match. Anyway, let's just do a quick super combo so we can actually check out some graphics here. Kind of fluffed up the inputs there, but whatever. Looks superb in my opinion. Now I'm recording the audio directly from a cable here, but it does actually have some simple speakers built in, so if you need audio and you don't have sound and you don't have an audio jack and headphone splitter for 2 people to listen at the same time, you can just use the speakers that are built in. Now the next test is actually the most interesting one for me. From my PC, I can actually run games at 144 FPS or games that have 120 FPS and all that. Anyway, it's time to check out PC gaming on the Arzopa G1. You can see all the options here. It goes all the way up to 144 Hz. On the camera, you won't be able to really notice any difference, but when you switch to 144 Hz, you instantly see a lot less blurring of the mouse pointer. HDMI is plenty for supplying a 144 Hz signal to a device like this. Okay, got Monster Hunter Rise booted up here on Steam, and it's time to see how this monitor looks in 144 Hz. Arzopa, we're on full screen, full HD, and it's 144 Hz. Let's go for a spin. Oh yeah. I mean, obviously it's not super clear because you are still spinning around, but it's just, you just get so many more updates of the screen per second that it doesn't look like a blurry mess. It just feels like objects spinning around quickly. 144 hertz gaming. This is absolutely intense. When I bought the monitor that's right behind here, that also runs at 144 hertz. And to be able to get 144 hertz on a portable monitor that is half a centimeter thick, that you can plug in and run on a mobile battery, I just can't get over it. Let's go! So we're here on Street Fighter V again, but this time playing on PC and going through the Arzopa. Now I've set the monitor to 144 Hz, but the game maxes out at 60 FPS. So we shall see if the game is completely unmodified and you just run it at 144 Hz, even though it's a 60 FPS game, will you reduce any of the input latency? Does look super nice and crisp. The colors are vibrant. The brightness is, well, I've set it a little bit lower for the photography today, but it does get as bright as you would like it to be. Alright, so now running the exact same game, this PC version of Street Fighter V, but this time through the BenQ monitor. I think it's a Zowie XL2430. Alright, so now we're going to talk about display lag, and this is kind of the part that I find the most interesting, because I have been trying to upgrade from the Hori monitor that I bought, and I love that thing, but it's kind of bulky, and you do have to plug a normal power adapter into it. You can now run this monitor at 144 Hz, which means that if you want to bring a laptop to a local event and you want to play a video game with low latency, then this might well be the monitor to go for. Now the truth is, until reviewing this monitor, I had never actually thought to do a 144 Hz test. But as we can see right here, if you're running the game on PC and you run it at 144 Hz into this monitor, then you get unbelievably faster input delay times. So where the average for the PS4 running into the Arzopa was 96 milliseconds, which is between 5 and closer to 6 frames of input lag on average. At 144 Hz on the Arzopa, we're running an average of 45 milliseconds, which is still under 3 frames, 2.7 frames of lag on average. And compared to the BenQ, it's only 10 milliseconds off, which came in at 36 milliseconds, 2.2 frames of input lag on average. But actually the next part is what really surprised me, because running the Arzopa just at the standard 60 Hz, because the game runs at 60 FPS anyway, when you run it at 60 Hz, the Arzopa actually comes in faster on average than the BenQ gaming monitor that I have here. So the BenQ comes in at an average of 80 milliseconds and Arzopa comes in faster than that at an average of 72 milliseconds. And so that puts both monitors between 4 and 5 frames of input lag on average. So while originally I was just trying to see whether the Arzopa G1 can keep up to speed with my gaming monitor, which costs over 50% more, what actually happened is the Arzopa turned out to be neck and neck in both the 60 Hz test and the 144 Hz test. And that means with this portable, super slim, ultra light gaming monitor that you can run on a mobile battery, you can show up at events with your laptop and this monitor and run games at 144 Hz to give both players up to 3 full frames of faster visuals and just a much snappier feeling gameplay experience, which brings us just that bit closer to the golden age of playing games on those massive CRT monitors. And if you're interested, I did a quick test on the Hori monitor, even though the monitor can only display at a maximum resolution of 720p. And the results of the input delay between the Arzopa and the Hori running through a PS4 were more or less the same, coming between 5 and 6 frames on average. Listen up, that is all I have time for with the Arzopa G1 Game. Gonna be quite honest with you, when they sent me an email and said, would you like to test out this monitor, I looked at it and I immediately thought, I'm pretty sure that it's going to be a laggy mess, but it was 100% the opposite. It completely blew me away. Now, first of all, the performance is absolutely on par with the Hori portable monitor that I've been using, but this is actually full HD and it actually has better viewing angles than the Hori portable monitor. Like if you're like a little bit too low or a little bit too high or to the side of the Hori monitor, You really can't see the picture like at all. Now this screen does have, not super wide viewing angles, but you can still see the whole picture from very, very low or very, very high. Obviously, the optimum viewing angle is gonna be in the front or a little bit to the side or a little bit to the left. Comparatively speaking, it does a better job of viewing angles and it has a brighter picture in general. The picture is sharper and that probably helps. It probably helps that it's just full HD to start with. Like on top of all of that stuff, the fact that it's also a 144 Hz monitor absolutely blows me away. Now when I put it head to head with a gaming monitor, which cost me at the time $340, that's how much this monitor costs. This thing here costs about $200 and it also does 144 Hz, and at 144 Hz the gaming monitor edged it out just barely. But what blew me away is that in 60 FPS performance on my PC, on the exact same game, the Arzopa actually came out on top faster than the gaming monitor on average. It's like, what? And on top of that, it also works with the Nintendo Switch with no dock required. So if you can think of ways to integrate this kind of monitor into your setup, do let me know in the comments section below. If you want to chat more about gear, game consoles, Japan, drawing, anything like that, do join us on the NihongoGamer Discord. You can also watch me stream on Twitch. You can subscribe to this channel here, and you can find me also on Twitter. That's all for now. I'll see you all in the next NihongoGamer video and or stream.